Welcome to the Eagles Checkdown, the fastest under 10-minute Eagles podcast there is, covering news, notes, and opinions on your favorite Philadelphia Eagles right here on the Eagles Pinpull Podcast Network. I'm your host, Phil Stifle. You can find me on all social media platforms at Beard A Knowledge. I'd appreciate a follow. And hosting Trending in the AM Monday through Friday on the STT Sports Network, 8 a.m. for 90 minutes of sports talk, taking your opinions into account and giving you a platform to have your opinions heard and actually matter. And it is Friday, December 13th, day before my 44th birthday, and we are talking Eagles, Steelers, final preview and prediction and how I see the game playing out for our Philadelphia Eagles in what I am calling a must-win game for both teams. First and foremost, the Steelers, it's a must-win for them. They've got a 2-game lead over the Ravens, but they have the Ravens next week. So winning this week would give them that added cushion going into their division matchup with the Ravens next week. They have the Chiefs after that, and of course, wrap their season up with the Bengals, which will always be a tough matchup no matter what situation the Bengals are in. It's a must-win game for the Eagles, in my opinion. And while this is not necessarily a popular opinion that it's must-win for the Eagles, I feel it is must-win for the Eagles. We got Washington next week, a tough division game where the Washington Commanders still technically have an outside chance at winning the NFC East, but it's must-win for the Eagles because of all the drama that they have faced over the last week leading up to this game. All the drama from Brandon Graham's out of context, out of place comments that he made that kind of stirred the pot about A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. While the Eagles players and coaches have done a fantastic job with, resolving it and with damage control, it would really put a lot of the drama to bed if the Eagles came out on Sunday and just dominated, or at the very least won this very difficult game against a 10-3 team that's going to win one of the toughest divisions in football. So it is must win, because if the Eagles come out flat on Sunday, if the Eagles come out and lose the game on Sunday to the Steelers, it's just going to continue to pile on the drama. And A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni, everyone's going to have to face questions. Well, did the drama cause it? Is there issues in the locker room, et cetera, et cetera? It's very important. It's very hard to win 5 games in a row, 7 games in a row, 8 games in a row, let alone 10 games in a row, which is what would happen if the Eagles won on Sunday. But it is a must-win to silence the critics, in my opinion. And how do the Eagles go about silencing the critics? First of all, they go about it by having a fully healthy team. And Thursday's practice report came out just a few minutes before me recording this, and 52 of the 53 active people on the Eagles roster were full participants in practice today. Everybody: Becton, Reed Blankenship, which means he'll clear concussion protocol, Jalen Carter, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Darius Slay, everybody practicing full. The only non-full participant on the 53-man roster was Sidney Brown, who has a knee issue that kept him out last week, but he still practiced in a limited fashion, so he might even be available. I don't know many teams have a full complement of players come week 15, that everybody's healthy. I know Dallas Goedert's on IR, so that takes him out of the equation. That kind of hurts that point there. But this team is as healthy as it can be at this point of the season. So that is step one. Step two is staying healthy as we enter the playoffs. But how do we do that? How do we do that? We win this game and continue to pad our cushion in the division, and to, at the very least, get the number 2 seed, so that come week 18, we can rest some of these guys. We can rest Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, if necessary, if records aren't on the line. If the number 1 seed is not on the line, that's what we can do. So that's a big part of the equation here, but it is must win. And we win this game with the key number 1 matchup in this game, and that's the Eagles defense versus the Steelers offense. We have the number 1 defense in football. The Steelers have the number 17th ranked offense in football, but they do put up a lot of points. They do put up close to 25 points a game. While we keep our points to 18 points per game or less, depending on what stat you look at, during the winning streak or over the whole season, it's very important for this Eagles team to not let this very mediocre average offense of the Steelers get going. They let Bryce Young hang around. They let Bryce Young off the hook in many situations and let him make plays. We cannot do the same against Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is a wily vet. If we give Russell Wilson the same looks and same effort that we gave Bryce Young and the Panthers last week, the Eagles are going to have a long day. And I think Vic Fangio is such a veteran coach and veteran defensive mind that he knows exactly what I'm talking about. And he's going to have these guys, Zach Bond, Reed Blankenship, Jalen Carter, ready to go on Sunday. It's a 425 matchup. We got Tom Brady's crew calling the game. It's a big game. There's going to be a lot of eyes on the football game on Sunday. So it's very important for the Eagles' defense and their defensive line, most importantly, to dominate in the trenches. This is a game that, in general, is going to be won. Offensive lines and defensive lines in general. Two teams that like to run the football a lot. The Steelers are the number 9 ranked rushing offense in football, which is crazy because, they're only averaging 3.9 yards a carry as a team. And Najee Harris, their leading rusher, is only averaging 3.9 yards a carry. But we are the number 8th ranked rush defense. So we can't let their offensive line get any momentum. We can't let Russell Wilson dominate this game or get lucky in this game and make the big plays. But I'm getting this feeling from Eagles Nation that they're worried about this game. But I think if the Eagles defense, if Zach Bond, Nakobe Dean have big games, Jalen Carter continues to dominate, if Quinion Mitchell stops whoever is the wide receiver, because George Pickens is most likely not playing. They're saying there's an outside chance, but he still hasn't practiced as of Thursday afternoon this week. So most likely George Pickens. So it's stopping Pat Freiermuth. It's stopping Van Jefferson. I had Neil Coulong, who covers the Steelers for the Sporting News on Trending in the AM on Thursday morning, and he said it's like this mix mash bag of wide receivers and weapons. None of them are super talented, but they're making plays because teams are taking them for granted. Teams are taking them lightly, and Russell Wilson, being the wily vet that he is making the plays when necessary. So it's very important for our defense to play disciplined football this week. That is the number one key and the most important thing for me this week. The other next most important thing for me, offensively speaking, is I know there's been a lot of Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown drama. But, even though the Pittsburgh Steelers are the number 4 ranked rush defense in football, giving up under 95 yards per game, we do not need to go away from the rush. We need to continue to use the running game to set up the pass. Do I want to see a bomb to A.J. Brown and A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts hug it out with Dr. Shelby? If you know, on the sidelines? Sure, of course I want to see that. But not at the expense of what has become the identity of the Philadelphia Eagles, which is running the football and dominating with their offensive line. So that's key number 2, not getting away from what has made this team successful over the last 9 weeks because of the outside noise, because of the drama, because of the doubts from the media and the fans. Stick to what works. That's how we win this football game. And do the Eagles win? They're 5.5-point favorites at this point. It started as 4.5-point favorites. The over-under is only 41.5. It started at 44.5. So the over-unders come down. The line has gone up. It's an important game for both teams. How do I see it playing out? Well, I've written down a bunch of scores that I think could play out. And most of them are Eagles victories. I kept zoning in on 24-20. But then as I started really thinking about how the Eagles defense versus the Steelers offense is the key matchup, and I feel that Vic Fangio will have this defense ready to play a little bit better than last week, I'm settling in on a score prediction of Eagles 24, Steelers 17. So the under hits by half a point. They cover the spread. Russell Wilson gets his first loss against the Eagles. The Steelers do not get their first win in 60 years against Philadelphia. Those are the things that happen there. That's how I see it playing out. I see a big game from Saquon Barkley again. I see a big game from Jalen Carter again and Zach Bond again. And I see this team. I don't think there'll be one single individual standout because the Steelers don't have an individual standout. They win by team play. And I think the Eagles are going to win this game by team play. I think the game ball will go to somebody like Nick Sirianni or Jordan Mailata, the vocal leaders that are trying to bring this team back together, because that's what's going to take to win this game this week. So I got Eagles winning 24-17. This is the Eagles Checkdown on the Eagles Pinball Podcast Network. Check out Trend in the AM just below in the description. That's how you find me there. Go Birds, and bubbles up to y'all.